I said, if you could just go back, if you could do it all over again, would you do it black? Considering the chance of your survival and the odds against your success, and knowing that at your very best, you could only be second best, would you, if you could, turn just a few of those miserable pages back to try to change what is by erasing yesterday's mistakes written in black? Do you remember your second-hand clothes brought home by your overworked mother after scrubbing whitest floors? Do you remember how she complained about her back? If you could, would you go back? If you had a choice, would you do it black? Do you remember the buses with all the empty seats in the front while you used to stand in back? Can you remember the cafes where you paid the regular price for a hamburger but received yours from a small window in back? If you could, would you go back? If you had a choice, would you do it black? Do you remember the school lunch bell? To some it was a mad dash to the lunchroom. To others it was hell. How well I remember that rain, when me and a few of my buddies gathered off to one side, hungry victims of the same old thing. That's right, no lunch sack. If you could, would you go back? If you had a choice, would you do it black? Had you asked me a few years ago when I didn't know, I would have been glad to go. That was before I saw the light. I would have jumped at the opportunity and been glad to do it white. But all of the ingredients that made me me, though bitter they were, I'm black but proud to be. The bitterness and the tears and the suffering of all the years sensitized me. Now I can see, I can hear, I can feel. This is worth more than gold. There are no words to express my wealth, but I'm far richer than most. I got soul. If I could just go back, knowing what the results would be, it would hurt like hell, but I'd do it again. I wouldn't want to be nobody but me. A little food is filling if it's been a while since you ate, and you truly know what love is after being exposed to an abundance of hate. It's nothing no one can tell or show you, and you can't get it from a book. You're never going to get it, no matter how hard you look. You'll have to get yours like I got mine, minute by minute, month by month, and a year at a time. I got soul, and if I could just go back, I'd do it all over again and do it black. How in the hell would you do it, brother? Right on. welfare slave. Something is free, they are led to believe. What seemed to be a charitable act is in fact an evil deed. Men stripped of their manhood and pride, suspended in permanent poverty, jobless yet qualified. Charity is granted the man in despair, paid to be a slave, and they call it welfare. Compromising mothers with deserving children survive on tokens and barely live. Social workers complaining over taxpayers' money as though it's from their pockets they give. Complaining about welfare nickels while they take a dime. Sharing the same public taxes, only they're cut much bigger than mine. Something is free, but not enough to meet half your necessities. How low can a man go when he's already on his knees? With a pride that has taken a thorough beating, with the family he loves raggedly and barely eaten, being forced against his will, jeopardizing his freedom to meet the bill. Welfare they call it, and it make good men still. On the 1st and the 16th, welfare hallucinations of hungry mothers and children set free, with bills and complications the day thereafter, and the return to suffering and misery. The children of today with little or no chance, the children of tomorrow with no hopes of advance. Still we must on these tokens rely. Desirable or not, it's do or die. Permanently confined to the ghettos, with all his hardships and despair. Free, still it costs an even greater price to stay there. Just how free is welfare? Overcrowded apartment with walls of chip paint, smudges, and cracks. Suitable for any museum in the art sections of antiques or modern abstracts, where it can never be said that the children are overfed, where no one sleeps alone, and even the pets share the bed. Free, some are led to believe. It's the money for the poor, making the rich men richer, while the taxpayers are being deceived. Claiming the poor as dependents, while they are left to bleed. The rich get richer off of taxpayer taxes, trickery, larceny, greed. Good men who are qualified apply daily for jobs and denied. I too have tried. This society has put me in a well of despair, and I too must depend on welfare. Caught in this mathematical bind, trying to avoid a life of crime. With so many brothers like myself, I too wait for the postman in line. And on the 1st and the 16th, please let him be on time. For God knows I need mine. Being so concerned with something Sometimes we forget about nothing. Perhaps you never stop to realize the beauty of the significance of nothingness. But even nothingness, if it is kept in its proper proportion and its proper perspective, has its beauty. I lay in the darkness looking at nothingness, but I saw it and understood it and understood the beauty of it, and it was beautiful. And while looking at nothingness, I heard the silence, but I heard it and understood it also. It too was beautiful, and it toyed with the strings of my heart as though a symphony. All of this beauty came from nothingness, and it made me tremble to imagine what something would be like. Then I concluded that after many years of nothingness, I had found nothingness to be something. But compared to something, it was still nothing. Nothing. Pilgrims, they called themselves back in 1620. 'Twas a hell of a joke they played, but not a living Indian thinks it's funny. They came for many reasons, claiming Puritans as being one. All we want is a little old church and a holy place in the sun, free from elaborate ceremony. It was a vicious scheme from the start. Those pilgrims was a bunch of phonies. It really didn't seem like much, and it never struck the Indians as odd, those pilgrims carrying guns to church. The Indians was very patient. They showed them how to farm, hunt, and trap. The Indians was very generous and placed many gifts in their laps. The pilgrims was very eager and did their best to learn. The colony boomed. And little did the Indian know, this was to be his doom. Now the tables began to turn. The pilgrims with short patience in their teaching, and the Indians too slow to learn. The shoe being on the other foot, this holy place became a different thing. Prayers was almost forgotten. The answers became bang, bang. They found gold, so I'm told, and it struck the mother country's interest. There'll be no sharing and no sparing, cried the pilgrims with king, queen, prince, or princess. These Puritans, who were regarded as very religiously strict, had no desire of sharing. They was also very slick. They were religiously slick. Mother, we want independence. And bang, bang. They had it by 1776. There was no extent to their self-preservation. These same God-loving people who invaded this nation, abusing and killing off all the Aborigine and sparing only a few for the desert reservation. After doing all of this, they still felt pure at heart and set aside a special day that they may give thanks to God. Thanksgiving we'll call it. That'll be fine. Surely the God they're thanking is not the same as mine. If I'm really to give thanks and praise to God, the thing that I'd pray for most is something to keep us apart. You give thanks for destroying an innocent people who welcome you in when your own had deprived you of the right to pray. You give thanks for taking the land of the people who gave you a place to stay. God have mercy. Eat your turkey. Go on and give your thanks. I'll eat with the Indians a much better meal. I'd rather have beans and franks. Happy Thanksgiving.
Ghetto of the mind, 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 ghetto of the mind.
So whatever you are, right or wrong, who has a greater right to be? No one wants to fail. We all reach for the brighter stars. Some find their solution in churches. Others find them in bars. Being a member of a church is accepted and understood. Still, being a drunk is considered as being no good. Could there be enough ingredients in anyone's life to make being a drunk justified? A question only one can answer. Only one is qualified. If you're strong enough to protect what's your own, you're within your right to be wrong. It's the weak and the meek that cries over right and wrong. You can never infringe on a strong man's right, and he'll never challenge your right to be wrong. Love and hate I neither condemn or condone. Providing you hurt no one else, you're within your right to be wrong. It's only my opinion. No one has to agree. But if I'm wrong, who has a greater right to be? Two lonely women holding hands in a lover's grip. Between themselves find love and understanding and true companionship. The morals of it all may seem evil indeed, but it can be no doubt that love is what they need. And if it's through their weakness they find a love that is strong, then I dare not challenge their right to be wrong. To say someone is guided or misguided, determining for him a maternal love that lingers on, then conditioned by society until his manhood is gone. This would even give the homo the right to be wrong. I challenge no man's right to love that no one is forced to give, because nothing is more important than to love and to live. Whoever your companion be, let no one destroy your entity. No one should be alone, and providing you hurt no one else, you're within your right to be wrong. Right and wrong is nothing but an overworked myth, spurned into life by a social fist. You're neither right nor wrong, for they walk side by side, and never wrong as long as love and compassion for others be your guide. It was never meant for all to be the same. In one respect or another, every man's lame. As perfect as they may seem, there are discrepancies in the priest. Not all was touched by the hand of God. Some was left to the beast. Still, it's not for me to decide. I'm not impressed by the priests and in drunks. I have no shame or pride. To say one is weak or the other is strong, it would deprive them both of the right to be wrong. Some people always demand explanations for the things you do, and its simple justification is you're doing them because you're you. Save me your explanations, though you I make no claim to understand, and I'll never challenge your right to be wrong if you don't challenge my right to be a man. Still in judges and presidents, I find them to stand alone, being placed above everyone else on a high and godlike throne. Their decisions could hurt too many people, and I find that in these alone, being placed in such a position, they have no right to be wrong. Right on.
Casting a shadow of love inspired from a youth, Marie some call her, but to me she was the first lady of truth. She gave a few joyful moments that warmed the cold hearts of a many lonely men. I thought it to be a blessing, still others thought it to be a sin. Marie was young, firm, and lush, appetizing, appealing, and desirable to touch. Charity advisors and tight-pocket misers lost their compromising composure. Just for a glance, they paid for the chance for a few moments' exposure. Lonely, cold, empty-hearted men cherished the thought of Marie's blessings. Still, they call it a sin. With complete satisfaction, none had an attitude. Still in their mind, no eradication. She still was a prostitute. She gave herself body and soul and brought pleasure, love, and joy and warm, empty hearts that was cold. Men wisely claimed they understood, claimed Marie to be no good. Would you blame a fool who just didn't know for thinking Marie was a no-good hoe? Marie mended the remnants of many hearts with zest, satisfying the lustful dreams of men with little understanding it seemed, but still she did her best. Unselfishly she gave love. Who could ask for anything more? To me, she was the first lady of truth, no matter who thinks she was a hoe. Monuments was constructed for thousands who bear a righteous name. Death, violence, and destruction, they share the hall of fame. Still no mention is made of Marie, except in vulgar whispers of shame. But if it was left up to me, Marie too would share this heroic hall of fame. All Marie had to offer was all she had to give, love and compassion for others, and a simple desire to live. So I both loved and understood Marie, and just how things would have to be. And no matter what the world may think, she's still the first lady of truth to me. I'm bound to a promise that I'll keep the rest of my life, bound with love and understanding. Marie was my wife. Casting a shadow of love that caught me in my youth, Marie is not only the first lady, but the last lady of truth. Knowing her and understanding her, I knew how things would have to be. That's why Marie was never confined, and though love she shared with many, Love, she gave me mine. I love you, Marie.
Justice isn't blind. This system of justice is very unique. In courtrooms of champions, amateurs compete. Men with less than a high school diploma are attacked by college professors with glee and humor. With their lives at stake, they take the stand with a dream of fairness when they face this man. Justice is a legal cloak and an unrighteous way of punishing my folk. Judges, they play with your life, and freedom can be had for a price. But for the poor who has no gold, there is no justice, and damn your soul. Justice herself, who claimed to be blind, been caught peeping a number of times. And in some cases, so I'm told, she's even taken off her blindfold. The scales was her criteria by which she judged for a very long time. Now it's been replaced by a dollar sign. Local crimes are said to increase at a rapid speed. However, crime in the courtroom far exceeds. The pettiness that turns crimes from day to day is far greater in every way. But no one dare question these facts or take a final stand or truly observe the tilted scales in the blind lady's hand. One need only to glance to see how the rich infringe upon our rights, while the poor struggle to comprehend justice in their already lost fight. Justice isn't blind. Everybody's impressed or so concerned about heroin and marijuana and all that until they forget the most dangerous narcotic that exists. And that's the narcotic that is injected into the minds of infants. It's called social narcotics. This is social narcotics. Free. It's just another game. Being married to slavery, answering to another man's name. Smith, John, and Bill. There's been no divorce. You're married still. Into black minds, white culture, traditions, and principles was injected. Systematically fed into infants until their hearts, souls, and minds was infected. Free, but raped of pride. Free and black, but white inside. Free, with no past or present, and the future's being denied. Mammy little baby don't know his name. Boy, Smith and John binds him to slavery. And much stronger are these psychological chains. Free, but left at prey. Physically raped, producing from black mothers, black tans and shans of gray. Mutilated beyond recognition. Nothing is free. Pay, nigga, pay. Mixed up physically and mentally by a mathematical scheme of a devil. Free, but there'll be no social mixing. The scheme was devised too clever. Black men developed for domestic use. Black women cultivated for household and sexual abuse.
black bodies with white minds, and in their graveyard heads, 1,000 thoughts all white, all dead, and a tombstone carved for Willie, Tom, and Dave. Free? How free is the body when the mind's a slave? Yes, damn it, the scheme was clever, but nothing lasts forever. A spark of light and a whisper of truth. The nigga was dead, the nigga was gone. Free. Free. The black man was born. Still, the days of slavery are not gone. Whiteys too was caught in this devil's scheme and led to believe distorted lies beyond your wildest dreams. Being injected with a social lie, Whitey became an addict to a drug called supremacy, which he devised. Free? Yes, I'm free. But what are we going to do with all the whiteys whose freedom depended upon me, and free no longer because they can't look down at me? Old nigga with your bowed head and your bending knees. Old nigga conditioned and cultivated to serve and please. Free? Yes, the North American nigga is free. He got up off his knees and raised his head and left to moan a multitude of whites. Supremacy was dead. Now suffering from a self-inflicted disease, curable only by bowed head on niggas with bending knees. Supremacy was the drug injected into their hearts, minds, and souls. Now it's like kicking turkey that's cold. Free. Yes, I'm free. So call me militant to lock Whitey's mind. Free, and yes, he faced a rapid decline. Caught in his own mathematical scheme, it's only a matter of time. Lady Justice has removed her blind. Miss Liberty has dropped her arm, and in humble submission bowed her head. Free is the black man, and supremacy is dead. I said, black man, my brother, what are you going to do? Because now that you're aware of what white has been doing to you, and the man hasn't changed his methods, he still waves a violent fist. And as far as he's concerned, as a man among men, you don't even exist. He kept you divided, mixed up and confused, treated you like an animal, something to be used. He created a dream way up in the sky and said, boy, it's yours, but first you'll have to die. Your sole purpose was to be a slave, and freedom would come once you entered the grave. Worked you like a dog, made a mule out your brother, and for his degenerate entertainment, he raped your sister and your mother. And if something in your nature made you question what you see, your curiosity would have you hanging from a tree. Bought you and sold you to all kind of bosses. Once you was worth as much as 3 horses. And your beautiful sister, who once was queen, was bought from the degenerate and sold to the fiend. Why, even that great George Washington, that most honorable mister, caught pneumonia in the slave quarters while raping your sister. They had to give a valid reason for the way that he died, but if you know your correct history, you'll know that they lied. Black man, my brother, just open your eyes. This whole foundation is built on lies. He submitted a paper saying all men are free to live and love one another. Then he created the draft and told you to fight and sent you to kill your brother.
When you begin to get wise to his trickery and lies, and for your children there seemed to be hope, he played another ace on the children of your race and flooded the neighborhood with dope. That'll teach him, he said, as he counted the living dead. That'll lighten the threat that prevails. And as far as all those civil rights about freedom for all to fight, we'll bury them in our jails. He's a cunning beast, my brother, full versed on the art of killing. But he's really surprised at how fast we rise, and if we must die to be free, we are willing. It's a brand new world, my brother, and the rules are being changed. The road we travel and the burdens we carried have been greatly rearranged. We no longer accept his conception that beauty means the pale Miss Anne. For where are they any more lovelier than the black women of the land? Where are they any more qualified and has proven their ability to survive? If Miss Anne had to carry the black woman's weight, there wouldn't be one alive. We've always ignored our black women, except in the giving of birth, but we come to learn that she alone is the mother of this earth. So honor her, my brother, for she's always been supreme, and she'll take her place on a throne next to yours and hold her own as queen. Do this sound like a dream, my brother? Something that could never be? Just check the distance you already come, and you'll see you're partially free. Don't let your goals be so petty till when you reach them you suddenly stop. You'll just be submitting to the same old trap where the white man limits your top. Are you beginning to hate him, my brother? So much till you want to destroy? Well, don't let it be. For the emotional one is the man he used to call boy. Try to understand him, my brother, for understanding is the key. And until you can learn what he really is, you'll never be mentally free. But once you know the beast in his nature, then you'll know exactly what he will do. And you'll have to be a fool from some old school to allow him to do it to you. Stand tall, black man, my brother, and take your rightful place. And don't you forget that we once were kings of a proud and majestic race. And if we were kings, surely they must have been queens. What the hell you think? Right on. The next time you see one of my little drunken sisters staggering down the street, don't turn your nose up at her until you give her some second consideration. This is the drunken sister. The neighbors call her drunken shame and frown vulgarly upon her, spitting out other little nasty names. She was born to a society much too mean and victimized by our devil's scheme. Is she really to blame? Being born black from the start, she faced incredible odds, and regardless to her qualification, scrubbing floors and household chores was to be her only art. If we all had traveled the same bitter route and truly knew her hardship, we'd have a different attitude. The woman the neighbors call a no-good hoe
was met with many complications and had a much harder way to go. Good fortune smiled on you and success was placed in your lap. You should regard yourself as lucky for being among the few who was able to avoid the trap. But for those who was caught in this mathematical scheme, life in reality can be a horrifying dream. Damn it, stop and think. Maybe she had a right to have a drink. I have no power to guide her or misguide her. I only feel the urge to sit down beside her, to let her know that someone understands. And even if the neighbors frowns on me, I'll feel no lesser of a man. Let me share this curb with you, sister. Damn what the neighbors think. I'll try to understand you, and we both will have